constantly influenced by each other, by stars or friends or whatever. Many women, most women, are not living individual lives. You're living lives based on your surroundings, your circle of influence, which is your best friends and your aunties and your mother and people on TV and all that stuff. You're not making decisions based on what you want. You're making decisions based on, okay, are you getting the results? Then I'm going to do what you do. Oh, he's giving you attention, then I'm going to wear what you wear. And this is what grown women do. So when they say Janelle Monáe, somebody like her shouldn't have this big of an influence on a 16-year-old girl, it's disingenuous. And women are basically
It's
lying.
dishonest.
Women are
That's
lying
dishonest.
about the power of influence, because this is how you decide whether you're attractive enough, whether you're attractive or not, based on your circle of influence. So it's like, come
Somebody
on
made a
now,
comment,
y'all.
Stalkers. Somebody said, hello, Flora said, right. I bet they won't say that when it comes to buying those records and concert tickets.
No, of course they won't. Of course, they'll justify spending $1,000 to watch Beyonce. And what's so special about Beyonce? Why would you give her $1,000, $700, or whatever the amount is, to buy tickets to go watch her, lip sync half a show, let's say. I don't know. I'm just saying. What is it about her that's so special that people will give their hard-earned money to go see her? You idolize her. And you mean to tell me, so you as a grown 40-year-old woman can idolize a Beyonce, but a 16-year-old supposed to have some sort of discernment and not see a Janelle Monáe or Meg Thee Stallion as somebody to strive to be? When you're buying wigs with the middle part trying to look like Beyonce too, it's like, you know what? Who we fooling here? Every woman wants to look like some other chick out here who's winning. She don't want to look like herself. She want to look like whoever's winning out here. Whoever's getting the most likes, who's ever getting the most attention, is who you're jockeying and who you're trying to find the blueprint to mimic as a grown woman. And grown women do this all the time. And then you want to circle back around and say, well, you should just raise your own children. Your own children shouldn't be, or your daughters shouldn't be affected by what they see, when your whole life is affected by what you see. And every decision that you make, from the car you drive to the food on your plate, depends on who's in tune with it, who's doing the same thing. Is it in fashion? Is it in vogue? The reason why health is on the back burner for most people, because it's nothing sexy about it. It means that I can't eat what I
No,
want.
until a celebrity goes vegan, or a celebrity goes carnivore, or the celebrity goes this, but it's still no vetting, because usually it's not coming from the heart. It's not consistent. This is why they get so much. I mean, I figured out as a young adult at some point. I don't know how I figured out that they got free clothes. The celebrities got free clothes. So I was like, we not on the same budget. They're getting free clothes, but I have to work a summer job or whatever to pay for this stuff. So this is
Yeah,
an
you're
illusion.
spending half your check on a bag. Meanwhile, the celebrity that's endorsing it got it for free. The celebrity that's endorsing the bag that you got to go on the black market to buy a knockoff of, and still spending $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever it is on the knockoff version. The celebrity that you're trying to emulate got it for free. It's the poor people that spend money on all these luxury items.
And
Poor
overcompensate
people do
and
that.
not feel good.
The
So
influencers get it for free so that poor people can save up to buy the nonsense, so they can feel like somebody. That's what it
well,
is.
we're on our own. We are on our own. So Salkis, I did want to mention today while we are here, some foods, and I happen to like to think like my great grandmother, right? Because I found her ways was simple and sustainable. And I would have to say that one of the reasons why I'm deeply influenced by my grandma is because of the way she treated me. And if we think about it, whatever feelings we're getting from the person may determine if we follow them. So I felt so safe. I felt she was so present and pleasant. She fed me so lovingly. That's why she's one of my icons with food. So when she said eat your own food, and the way she made sweet bread and she spent time with me, those are some of my sweetest memories. So actually, this woman, she will probably never know, she has given me some of the sweetest memories. most of the people I encounter don't leave me with sweet memories. So she stands out in contrast to most people. So a lot of the foods that I've circled back around to are grandma's foods. They are so simple, Salkis. They are so simple. All of the stuff I was spending on all of these products at the store, I was like, my grandmother was doing that. For example,
Right.
all the acne and the dark marks. I remember the African American side of my family used to use Ambi skin tone cream. I don't know if you remember that bleaching cream that had the soap
Remember.
and the cream and all the other stuff. And then the Caribbean side used to use Venus de Milo.
Oh,
Venus de
yeah.
Milo, it all smelled the same, had that sulfuric smell. And I remember looking at the package because again, mimicking, I looked at my cousins and what they were doing. Actually, it kind of bleached your skin and made it look kind of uneven. But this is what they did. If they use Noxzema, the older grandmothers, they use castor oil and olive oil, maybe some Pond's, but they was mixing their own little concoctions. So I remember reading the package and it said your skin should clear up in 6 to 8 weeks. You start to see a change. Now, common sense, right, and which is why it's good to experiment. I found that usually that's in that time period of me just not eating junk, that my skin would clear up in that same time period. So I was like, then why do I need the Venus de Milo? Why do I need the skin bleaching cream, right? So I think a lot of times we are so influenced because we're not spending the time with ourselves and handling eating our own food. I think it's much deeper than just eating your food. I would even say the food is having a communication with you. The more you handle your food, you're going to get information that's not in the books. You're going to get information that's not inside the books. So some of the foods that my grandma was big on for acne was lime. My grandma said, why your face so poxy, like chicken pox? And she would just take a piece of lime, because she's always using lime for everything. Clean this, clean fish, in the tea. Lime was for everything. And she would cut a piece of the lime and come rub it on your face and it was burning. I was like, woo, burn. Don't you know that stuff cleared my face up? The lime.
Wow.
I went all the way around all the benzoyl peroxide, salicylic acid, proactive to come right back to the same lime. And our great-great-grandmothers did not waste anything. So when I think of principles, everybody's talking about off-grid and permaculture. There was no permaculture. There was no intermittent fasting. There was no organic. There was none of that. It was just natural food. No intermittent fasting. It's dark. Close your mouth. Close the kitchen. Go to sleep. Right? They're selling hyaluronic acid, all these different acids, the acids inside of the fruit. So I have found every single time when I embrace the regular natural ingredients of the food that grandma used, it's flavorful, and each food can be used for multiple purposes. Every single ingredient, from the okra, the Scotch bonnet pepper, the beets, the limes, the cucumber, all of it. Like, to me, it's like an epiphany. Like, those women were ahead of the game, right? The coconut, the coconut shell has been used to scrub the floor. The fiber is sold as peat moss, very, very expensive to put moisture in your garden. The coconut shell can be used as a jewelry box, a soap holder. When I was doing fitness competitions, and something they're talking about now is MCT oil, medium chain triglycerides. So I have a habit from Grandma Lua. Where'd you get it from? You had to get it from a source. Medium chain triglycerides is in the coconut. Coconut is my grandmother's muse food. I can do so many things with a coconut, it's ridiculous. And actually, have you ever heard the significance of all the pleats inside the chef's hat? Right, you see all those pleats in the tall chef's hat? Each pleat represents a different way to prepare an egg. Right? All the different hundreds of ways you can prepare an egg. Yes, I was thinking like, well, my grandmother could do that with a coconut, right? So that's how when I think of the food, I think of what's in it, right? Because my grandma's like, eat your own, it's in the food. I would even say, as someone that's done all colonics, I used to work at a colonic center, done all kind of cleansing kits. I used to help make the cleansing kits, herbs. I would say the first line of herbs is the food. I would even consider the food and the greens. I consider them herbs. I consider bitters a whole food group. Bitters are a food group. The actual food group that everybody runs away from, you spend these expensive kits, then you go put agave nectar, honey, maple syrup inside the bitters. I would say the bitters are a whole food group. So some of the top foods from my grandma, and these are out in my yard, these can be grown easily. And eventually we're going to have like a workshop, because people can grow. We could literally grow food. I have enough greens out in my yard right now, and I didn't grow up as a farmer, that I can pull greens there at least twice a day, if not more, to eat. But I can set it and forget it. And these are important principles that actually, I would say, a lot of those skills, you're going to need them. Panoramic or no panoramic, we need these things just to be able to take care of ourselves, and also knowing that a lot of our beauty and nourishing ourselves and soothing ourselves doesn't have a lot of cancer causing ingredients. I'm sure we're going to use something that's going to be cancerous. It's not a totally clean environment, but the more we can lessen that stuff, in addition to recycling our economics, you know what I'm saying? And not, for $20, $30 for one little teeny tiny cream, right? When people ask me what I'm putting on my skin, I put food on my face. I got rid of the shower caddy for years, and I have not brought it back, and I'm not bringing it back. I will put okra on my face. I will put beets on my face. I will put pitaya or dragon fruit on my face. I will put cucumber on my face. People will be thinking I'm joking. Even I was in a gym, at a bathroom, in a high-end gym, and I had eaten some grapefruit for a snack. And so I came out, I held on to the pill after I came out of the sauna. I just started rubbing the grapefruit, and one of the trainers was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm putting food on my face. What does it look like I'm doing?" So that's what I'm putting on
The peel
my
of the
face.
grapefruit is good. Is a good blood cleanser too. You make a tea out of it to clean the blood. It's very good.
I'm using the skins. I'm constantly, at one point I had got to the point where when I was downsizing and had my eye on the door to transition to live elsewhere, I was like, I'll get rid of every product in here. I threw out the shower caddy. I was like, I started using the skin from the limes. I had several different juicers, and one of them was an Auger juicer. It's called a Green Star. It was very expensive back then. It's like maybe almost $600. I was able to slow juice it and get a cream out of the skin. I took that cream. I was cleaning my skin and my scalp, and started taking it to do my laundry, because I had my eye on the door. I was like, anywhere I can get rid of an expense, I was washing my clothes, putting them on a line in my house and on the fire escape, because I had a goal. I had a goal, and I got simpler, and my skin got clearer. And people were like, "What are you putting on your skin?" I was saying food. They're like, "What food?" And I would even say, I'm putting the food on my skin first from the inside, right? Because we think so much topically. I get it. As a coach, a trainer, everybody's concerned about the skin and the muscle. But if your organs ain't intact, it's a wrap. Your organs, your kidney, your liver, your spleen. My liver, I'm sure, was so compromised by years and years and years. I was a barbecue potato chip junkie. I was those little Drake's Cakes junkie. I was just a junk food junkie all around. And then I just transferred it to vegan. So I knew enough that my liver was compromised. That's one of the reasons why it took so long. Even with colonics, it would not clear up. Also because I kept retoxing. I bought all this expensive stuff to detox. But my mentor told me back then, she said, most people are not going to get the full benefit of these cleanses because they keep putting the cleanses in with the other junk. And then you don't give it a chance. You retox. So there's deep, deep, deep levels of all the chewing gum that I ate. All the penny candies, the years of cat. I ate years and years of junk. Even with 1 or 2 fasts, that stuff doesn't come out. So it's a very humbling, slow process. It's a slow, humbling process. And I think the most simple, sustainable thing is the food. The food is so simple. And my grandma Lou rolled pennies and put them inside those little paper coin things. And she would take half of those pennies and put them inside her Christmas passbook savings account. She was like, when you're ready to go home, you go home. And the other half she would take to the fruit and vegetable stand. And she would get coconuts for her coconut bread. And she would get stuff to chop up her seasoning, which was extremely flavorful. But also, all of that stuff has medicinal, highly nutritional properties in it. The Scotch bonnet pepper is good for your circulation. If you had any kind of cold in you, her hot sauce, right? That stuff, it's medicine. The garlic, the onions, the natural sulfur, and it is good for your hair, your nails, to open up your lungs. If you had a cold, that stuff was running out your chest. If you had what she called fish tea, back then. So I take a lot of the principles that I got from my grandmother, and I'm using the same foods, and I'm being very creative with the textures and the flavors, the digestibility. You're finding ways to make them digest. My grandma used coconut bread. I don't eat flour. But I found a way to grind the coconut and use sometime if I want to do a more moist bread. Or if I want to do one that's a little dry, I can use an air dryer. It even gets so hot where I am. I set up a station that's above ground where I can put screen on it, and I have recycled trays that I can bake it in the sun, right? So it's also when I'm putting my hands in the food, it is relaxing, it's therapeutic, right? So I think there is, in the most practical sense, something to be said for the energy you put in your food. My grandmother put a lot of love in her food. She put a lot of love and care. Like, you knew that she cared about you when she was feeding you. So I think that it may sound, ooh, whatever to people. I think it's important because I'm turned off. I don't want to eat food from angry people. You're angry? No, thank you. I got an orange with a peel on it right in my bag. You know?
Right.
So, somebody has a question. I have a question. I gave up on sugar, but I eat peanut butter and want to know, is it good? Well, I don't know what brand of peanut butter you're eating, but most peanut butters have a lot of processed oils and sugar in them. So if you ever embark on, and maybe just in an experiment, sometimes on a Sunday if you have time, anything, and this is what I did, anything I would get from the store, I had a challenge, especially with my son. I can make it and I can make it better, especially as a chef. So what would happen if you made the peanut butter yourself? You're going to learn a lot if you make peanut butter yourself, right? You're going to see, like, I've made different types of peanut butter. You're going to see how the oil breaks down, especially if you're trying to make a raw peanut butter. It's going to humble you, and you're going to understand how the food behaves inside of your system. For example, why peanuts can be very hard to digest. I've grown peanuts in my garden. I've seen we harvest them. They can be very prone to mold, right? So many of us never see the food in its whole source. So it's a whole lot of information you're missing out on, and companies are not going to get rid of their profit. If it's got mold or this or that, they got a process for all of it. They're not throwing stuff in the garbage. Usually they're not throwing things in the garbage. So this okra, for many women, this is fantastic for your reproductive organs, right? So that you're not dry, your eyeballs are moist, your reproductive organs, you know, there's a natural mucilage inside of our yanis. Men have a natural, you know, mucilage in there. Many of us are dried up because all the food is like, if you move the food to the side, first of all, the food is all dry like dog food. There's a bunch of oil and salt, processed oil on it. So your body's dried out. You're dried out, but we walk it. Oh, this is a top food. Also, if your intestines are inflamed or dried out, this is soothing. It's not a purgative like a laxative. This is extremely soothing. And natural mucilage inside of the okra is very soothing to your intestines. So the food, being we eat food every day, is a very gentle cleanse. It's not the extreme. We're looking for the extreme. Fix me and fix me now. That's usually we get jacked up because we don't even change the mindset. But if you're eating okra on a regular basis, it will give you, also has a good amount of calcium inside okra. Okra also has a subtle sweetness. I like to snack on okra. I can pickle okra with the Scotch bonnet peppers. I just had some folks come visit. And so there's some folks that don't like the texture of the mucilage inside the okra. So I just ran it very quickly under cold water, patted it dry, and I made a batter in it and I dried it. And it tastes, you know, like almost like an okra chip. But instead of tempura, it was like an okra tempura. So what would your grandmother do? They would just be creative with the one ingredient, right? And I know what's in my food, right? So rather than just focus on the label, which is really just a distinction for what you would like to be fed, right? So I don't prefer animal products at this point, but people are in different parts of their journey because I've circled around several times, right? So I don't think it doesn't benefit me to shame myself or to shame other people for where we are on our journey. That's ridiculous. If anything, you're missing out on asking this person questions and learning from where they are in their journey, right? So I could do so much with the okra. I could do so much with the beets. This is a blood cleaner and a top womb food, right? And also for those folks, I would say a lot of the population now is insulin resistant, and it makes it very, very hard to lose weight. And I want to make a distinction. The only type of weight we ever need to, people say lose, I would say release, is adipose tissue and water retention. Never muscle. We never, ever want to lose muscle. That's our shape. That's our metabolism. That's the way we move the levers of the bones. And so when people are doing sometimes extreme fasts, or not even say necessarily extreme, or longer fasts, they're not taking into account, right, muscle loss. Right now, in a context, maybe somebody has taken and burnt their body up so much that muscle loss is not a concern right now. We just need to get your body up and running. So all of these different principles, if we don't understand the principles, we don't know how to apply them for where we are at the stage of our journey, if that makes sense. Somebody said, I love okra. My mother used to grow it, and it's one of the easier things. I would consider this an ancestral food, right? And these are some of these foods are foods that are easier for us to grow, and we can collect the seeds, right? Because a lot of seeds are disappearing, right? Also, I would say as tropical people, our bodies, one thing I would say Dr. said was definitely on point with, he said, they didn't bring, our food over here with us when we went through the whole slavery trauma. So these foods have a tendency to agree with us, and they're affordable, especially if you start growing it on your own. They have, I think, a lower learning curve. But these are top foods, and I strive to use as much as I can, so I can't use any more before I put it into the compost. And I'm also nurturing worms, which are fantastic for the garden, which are excellent fertilizer. If you look it up online, worm castings, that's extremely expensive. So when this stuff is all ground up, I feed it to the worms. Now I have excellent nutrition to go right back into my soil, right? And I can taste food. Sometimes, like the oranges when we were little used to make our hands sticky. They don't make your hands sticky anymore. And sometimes it looks like an orange has no flavor in it. That's telling you something about the soil. And a lot of the soil today is becoming dirt. And I can see that in the garden. I'm the person who try to say we start a garden, because I can see when, let's say I had a whole bunch of sesame seeds that was my first harvest here in my yard. Then I had a whole bunch of collard greens, kale. And at some point, stuff just started looking like struggling growing. I was like, what's wrong with you plants? And I would walk in the morning and talk to the plants. What do y'all need? Is it more sun? Do I need to move this plant over there? And ding, 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 ding. If it was a pregnant woman, would you have her have baby after baby after baby after baby and she doesn't get to eat? The old ladies will tell you your teeth are going to fall out, your bones are going to get messed up because that baby's going to get his nutrients. So I wasn't nurturing the soil. I wasn't putting enough back into the soil. So now I had to really put my hands in and observe the patterns of the soil. So there's a lot of information that we would get if we were just engaged in the processes of life. And I would dare say another benefit is it will calm our brains down from having to need so much medication. I think we're medicating things that will be taken care of by engaging in life, and even engaging in life with your circle of influence, right? And coming together around an activity, I think can kind of cool out some of that reputation for cattiness if we're coming together with an activity that requires cooperation, right? Or that has a sense that everybody feels good about the job we just did together, right? So a lot of our natural lifestyle practices have so much built into it. I
think, my approach to wellness is simplicity. And because I understand that if it's inconvenient for you to do, you won't do it, and you won't stick to it. So, simplifying everything and making it easy for you to do the healthiest thing for you. And you may not be able to follow the blueprint 100%. And you may not be designed to do everything on the blueprint itself too, because some people are day people and some people are night people. Again, if you're a night person, you're up at night. That's where you have the most digestive power. Forget the circadian rhythm. If you're a night person, you're wide awake and you're alert and you're more creative and you're into things at night. That should be the time where you're maybe taking in the most nutrients, regardless of if the sun is up or not, which they say, if you should technically be eating your biggest meal by high noon, because that's when the sun is at its strongest. But not if you are a night person, or if your lifestyle is you're up during the night. You gotta do what you gotta do. So to me, if you can uncomplicate things, and the first step to uncomplicating things is just to start chipping away at things that you know for a fact upset your stomach, for a fact make you bloat, for a fact make you sick, for a fact make you constipated. for a fact give you diarrhea or whatever it is, you just start to let that go, because this is fast paced. It's fast paced, and everybody just has not designed their life to make a meal from scratch. It's just not on their priority list, based on what they have to do, family, lifestyle, work, and all this kind of stuff. So even though your life is not designed to be that holistic, you still can find a way to tailor it in a way where you can chip away at a lot of the bad stuff and really start improving your health just by omitting or taking things out
What you leave
of
out.
your diet.
I think it's just as important, if not more important, is what you leave out. People will say, "You call me, give me a herb, give me." No, it's what are you leaving? Even if you take the herb, if your body is communicating, is having an inflammatory response to the thing you're putting in, it doesn't belong in there. Then the simplest thing to do that's more cost effective than me giving you another expensive herb. That's why I say the food is the herb. And you brought up something that's really important. Again, I have to credit my Grandma Lou from just watching her use her common sense. I asked Grandma Lou one time, and she was, singing and humming. She had a little Caribbean gospel station on, and some church music came on. And I said, Grandma, so my southern side, African American side, go to church all the time. I said, Grandma, you gotta go to church? And she started laughing. She said, I know, go there, gal, and get that man my money. And I remember like, wow, Grandma's smart. I remember thinking I never forget that she has common sense. So when I was making certain changes to my food, and people say, I remember they gave me this long list, and it was so, I didn't recognize anything on that list. I was so overwhelmed. I was like, let me go get me some potato chips, because this is too much. I ain't doing this. Now, eventually I came back, but I decided intuitively to use my common sense. So that's why for me, and I'm just going to tell you, the most important thing wasn't organic. Just me eating fresh food. And I had a standard that I wouldn't eat out of a can, because I could recognize the canned food is really depleted. But frozen food and things that were fresh, even if they were conventional, if I had a choice, that's what I did choose, right? And that will be your gateway. The things that were my favorite, if it was corn on the cob, lots of garlic, it used organic russet potatoes that were white potatoes back in the day. They tasted totally different than the Idaho potatoes inside the supermarket. And I knew, because I was sampling that stuff as a young mom that didn't have a lot of money. I was buying what was inexpensive, but my principle is fresh, right? And the stuff was coming in seasonally. I would see certain things seasonally. Those white organic russet potatoes were absolutely delicious, the skin and the inside. And what I used to do when I used to eat fish is I would bake the potato, cut it in half. I would fill it in with tuna. At one point it was Tono, the really good Italian tuna, and olive oil, squeeze off the excess olive oil. I would put sprinkle sesame seeds and take a big handful of mixed lettuce and put that inside of it. Put it in either foil or something else, and I would take like 4 of those to 6 of those when I left the house early and came back late. And my policy was, if it ain't in the bag, we ain't eating it. I was so satisfied. I always had food to share. My son be hungry, you know the deal. If it's in the bag, that's what we're eating. And it was very satisfying. It tasted a lot better than stuff I would buy out in the street. So if it was peaches, or my mom is in the States, I'm like, Mommy, if you can find peaches, blueberries, and strawberries, even sometimes at Trader Joe's, their quality tastes better. Rack up on those, because they're lower in sugar. You can mix that inside your little blender and make a little sorbet. That's easy breezy for those folks that got their little EBT cards, or they're on a spending plan. There are certain things, like right now, it's mango season, so I have so many containers of mangoes that I'm freezing. I can use for hot sauce or smoothies or whatever, but I know exactly what's in it. This is several different varieties of mango. I had a big, a mango like this. I just saw my girl down the street. Her tree is, she just picked a mango. It's like almost 2.5 pounds. This one is just about a pound, a little over a pound. This is 50 cents. This is 50 cents. The flavor is going to be so much more exquisite than anything that would be coming in a can, or that's more highly processed. I could dry it in my dryer or out in the sun. If I wanted to, I can make hot sauce, I can make smoothies. And actually, I would say I'm not scared to eat fruit. And based on my results, when I eat fresh fruit, it just makes me more regular. My skin is clean as a lick. Sometimes if somebody has more issues with their blood sugar, They can eat cucumber or a stalk of celery with it to buffer the sugar. So I have found the food is the most simple, sustainable thing. If you have peaches or whatever local is in season at your market, buy in abundance, less expensive, more flavorful, and freeze it. Label it and freeze it. These are things we can do while you're chit-chatting with your girls on the phone. Put your headset on and cut up your fruits and vegetables. These are things that there's so much that we can do. We're leaving a lot of life on the table. We're leaving a lot of life on the table. So if you can freezing is 20 times better than anything coming out of a can. Especially if you're freezing it. I know several of my clients, their children or their church has a community CSA, and they're constantly getting whatever seasonal squash or whatever. I'm like, cut it up and freeze it, or make soups with it that you can reinvent, or take that soup, reinvent it with some lentils. Take that soup, reinvent it with some brown rice, and just add loads of vegetables with it. Your family's going to be full. And the best diet to me is satiation. Because if you're really satiated with real food, then if I come across and I offer you a treat, you're like, I really would love to, but I'm satisfied. Right? Many of us are not satisfied. 8 bags of potato chips couldn't get satisfied. Because it's not real food. It's not real food.
Yeah, yeah, and most people are, food is medication. Food is it's like you said, a pacifier for a lot of people. And I just find that if your goal really is to be well, then it's not just eating healthy, but it really is about having the right attitude about what it is you're doing. Because I've said before, you can eat the salad, but if you resent eating it, you're not going to get the benefits of it, because that's there's an energy that you're putting out there, just like you wouldn't eat something from somebody who had an attitude. If you
No.
have a bowl of salad in front of you and that's something that you resent eating, where the nutrients are going to be pulled out of that? No, it's not. So it's really a change in mindset, not that you are pigeonholed or that you're restrained because you're eating the salad, but you're eating it because this is a form of self-love, let's say, or just self-care, and you're just being relaxed and easy about it. Because a lot of times, what I find with women that are dieting and trying to change, it's very stressful. They're very stressed about getting it right. They're stressful about the food choices that they're making. Everything on the plate is a pass or fail. And then it just kind of defeats the purpose, because they got so much anxiety about what's on the plate, when to eat, how much to eat, this ingredient, don't do this and don't do that. And all the don'ts are swimming in their head, that they can't even enjoy. They can't even really enjoy what's in front of them. And it really, really does a disservice, because there are vegans who have cancer too. So it's not
That
just
is
it's not
true.
just the diet.
Now that's the truth. You could be a
It's
raw
not just the
foodist,
diet.
Celsius. You could be raw foods, and if you have so much toxic relating, or if you have an aversion, or let's say if you have negative experiences and connotations around the food, it's going to turn you off. There are many people that might have gotten into a relationship and changed their food based on what their partner or their mate were eating, and then when they broke up, they was like, I don't want anything to do with that food anymore, even if it was healthy, because now there's a negative association with the food. Or even your children. I know I never wanted my son to have negative associations with prayer, or with food or exercise. So a lot of times I'll tell you, no, you don't need to do bodybuilding, nothing, go play. This is play. I want you to go play and have fun. Break dancing. I don't want him to come up when he gets older around other men. I'm around a lot of trainers and coaches, and he's feeling like, I got to be a bodybuilder, I got to do this and that. You're ripping up your shoulders. No, go play. Go have fun. I've seen some of the fittest people in the world playing. Right?
Yeah.
Even with the food, a lot of times I'm having so much fun with my food that I feel like it's an epiphany. I was like, oh my gosh, if I only knew this as a child, I would have never had a problem. But I feel excited about food and movement. I feel like it's another ride to get on at the amusement park. Or like, I have a mame here,
And
which should be about right. This
that
is a
that is an
mame.
important point. That is an important point you just made about your attitude towards what it is you're doing. You're excited and motivated by what you're doing. It's not just the food, it's everything it means to you to eat well. And and you know, it's a sort of like a spiritual thing for you. It's not, you know, just for aesthetics.
Yes.
It's, you know, so that you can live long and so you can preserve yourself, so that you don't suffer. There's so many moving compartments there that you know, you're doing it to stave off disease, but you're also doing it because of the enjoyment of it too. And there's a lot of people that eat healthy but do not enjoy doing it and will not get the full benefit and the full results that they're looking for, because it's another stress factor now. Yeah, you're not eating the burger, but you're stressed out and resentful of the salad that someone said you had to eat. So it's there's no joy in that. If there's no joy in what it is you're doing, you know, your healing is going to be slow. Slow,
Mm-hmm.
if at all, it's going to be a slow process, and you're not really going to see any leaps and bounds from it because it's something you don't really want to do, and you don't see it as beneficial. You see it as a loss. You see it as a loss. So
People die like
it's
that.
really about an
People die
attitude
like
change,
that.
huh?
I've seen at a holistic health center. I used to do the second part of the consultation, the recommendations that the person giving the consultation that she made for their products, their green powders and stuff like that. And a lot of people did not change because they did not enjoy the food. They paid all of
Exactly.
this money, but they didn't enjoy the food. So I was like, you know what? I was going to school for nutrition, and then I switched off to culinary because I said, okay, I need a piece of paper, right, to move around and maneuver. But I said, I think, first of all, people will eat anything, poo-poo, if you put red sauce on it. But I was like, my folks, I got to kind of make this look nice for my people in order for them to eat it. So I was like, Grandma Lou taught me how to season food, right? I understand the healthy stuff. I got that on my own through paying for my own and creating my own education. But I was like, I need to make this stuff attractive for my folks, for them to eat it. You know, and so if I'm going to a barbecue and people drinking beer and smoking whatever, blah, 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 I don't come in here saying raw vegan. I shut the heck up. I bring something beautiful. I bring fruit to share. I bring a beautiful fruit tart. Somebody like, who brought this? I said, I did, Uncle So-and-so. Baby, this is so nice. Give me a plate. Let me get some of that. Gone. How come you didn't save me none? I shut the heck up and serve people beautiful food and walk away. Even with my clients, sometimes they're trying to get their spouse to eat healthy. I would tell my men folks, I said, listen, you are going about this totally ineffective. You can give me a good Christmas gift later. I said, listen, first of all, your wife is taking Pilates. You're trying to get her to come here and get on the Smith machine. She don't need to get on the Smith machine. Why don't you just let her teach you something? Let her show you her class or something. And I said, make her a gorgeous lunch. Gorgeous with some cloth napkins and stuff in there. Run her a bath and make her a beautiful smoothie. Put an umbrella in it. I said, I guarantee you she's going to be on the phone telling all her friends, do you know what he did? Oh my gosh. Like a charm. Like a charm. It's how you're presenting it. And then, you know, for the women, I was like, you're going to have a mutiny. You don't come in here snatching everything away. You got to find out what's everybody's entrance point. This one likes corn on the cob. This one doesn't like onions. Every time you come across a dish that's healthy that somebody likes, you put some colored paper with some stickers or some crayons, and everybody writes down their recipe. So children have an ego and take ownership over whatever they create. So they're like, oh, can we make this? Children always like, can we make this? Can we make the peach ice cream again? When I would have children come over, my son's siblings in the summertime, you know, we're going to, you know, Mama Kwasa's house, and we're going to be making, everybody pick your fruit, and we get the little Chinese boxes that the fried rice is come in. Everybody, you pick your fruit, and everybody's going to make their own ice cream. Yay! Father's coming to do, ooh, look what we made. So it's like, to me, I want to play, and I want to have fun. I want to have a lot of fun. Once I had a bunch of children over and we had a pizza making competition to see who could build the best pizza. So also we're having memories. I like a lot of memories more than trinkets. So wow, remember that time we went over your mom's house? Yo, that pizza was so good. Plus I can hear what young people what they're talking about. So I want to, you know, hear what's going on with them. So I would usually make my home open so that people can come over, have some good snacks. You know, I hear, yo, Miss Kwasa, yo, that thing was really, really good. Or I would be getting emails, what was that thing that you sent your son with to school? Can I get some? I'm coming over your house. I wasn't saying nothing about fruits or vegetables, nothing. I would make beautiful food and walk away. I send food for teachers. I send them for whoever my son is taking a class with. Who was doing that? My grandma Lou. Every time I left her house, she sent me home with she had all these little loaf cans with coconut bread. She said, send this one for Chessie, send this one for Jerome, send this one for your grandmother, send this one for you. She was thinking about, I don't have enough money. She sent a little loaf for everybody, and everybody was fighting over that coconut bread. It's the same principle. She was
Yeah,
feeding people.
yeah, it's really about designing your life where the certain things are just matter of factly important to you, of the most importance to you. And wellness, should be, it's not for everybody, but it should be at the top. And for some of you, you might have to take it slow in inching it up there, because there's other things pulling at you. But you don't want to force it because you're in some sort of popularity contest, or you're doing it because you want to be judged a certain way, and you make it theatrical. Wellness is something personal. There's certain things you do because you're just supporting yourself, and it really hasn't anything to do with who's doing veganism better than you, let's say, or something like that. You don't make it a competition. Wellness, to me, and every aspect of wellness, really involves relaxation. When we're talking about taking stuff out of your diet, we're talking about taking things out that clog your colon up, that make your blood turn into sludge, that causes stagnation, right? And an accumulation of waste. So what we're trying to do is get rid of things that cause you to get stuck, is all. And you just start chipping away at the stuff that makes you feel stuck, so that you can start to flow again. So, wellness is about a flow. It's not about I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to do anything right. Because once you put I have to on there, immediately comes the stress. Immediately comes the judgment too, like, oh my God, I'm doing it wrong. So the moment you attach I'm doing it wrong to anything, it becomes unpleasant. And then you start finding reasons subconsciously to avoid it. So what we want to do with wellness is to create space so that we're not making it so hard that we try to avoid doing it. It should be pleasurable. It should be easy. You want it to be as easy as possible if you're going to stick to it, and if you're going to get all the benefits that you can from it. So you start with one thing at a time, and as soon as you get all that figured out, you can move to something else, and before long you have a whole menu going of things that you have to choose from. But eating
Okay.
something you hate doesn't make any sense. Don't
Mm-hmm.
do it.
So
Like don't do it.
here
It's
we
not it's
have like
not
a
going to help you.
mame. This is a mame fruit. This is literally like a sweet potato pie right off the tree. And it has the most beautiful seed inside of it. And this one is ripe. This is like a sweet potato pie, literally off the tree. It literally is like
Okay.
sweet potato pie. And so to me, like when I find like treats, I always make room, like in my budget, my spending plan. I always look for something that's interesting or new to try. That's how I was thinking. Like nature has given me so many treats. I don't have a reason to cheat. And having other things to look forward to is probably one of the biggest things that has kept me excited all these years about eating healthy, because I always have something new or delicious to look forward to. That's important to me. I always have something delicious to look forward to, and I like my little cloth napkins. Like I'm going to make it an event. All right, when you go into a really fancy restaurant with a tasting plate, well, years ago was $300. It's the service, it's the attention to detail. I think sometimes we do that for other people, but we have a tendency not to do that for ourselves. So like I like to light a candle in the evening. I like my cloth napkins. I like to collect different types of chopsticks. Sometimes, I got some that have a little gold on the tip or with flowers on the tip. I love to collect different types of plates. Sometimes I like the Japanese aesthetic, sometimes with the little bento boxes for your children, the things that look real cute, so that the food, kind of like a tea ceremony, is like a
Hmm.
whole ceremony. Now, when I'm really, really busy, I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I can eat the okra just like this. I can eat the fruit if it's got a
Right.
peel. I eat it and I go. I've been known to have if somebody calls me to go out of town for something, when I'm doing like a book drive and I'm going 3 hours or something plus away. I have a scoop and go policy. I can scoop my portable knife and some stuff into a bag. I got some different seasonings. I scoop it into a bag. I got a knife, a little hand grater, and I go. And I can usually make food for myself very easily, so I'm not bothering people. I don't want to be in anybody's way, but I make sure that I eat and that I'm fed, right? Because if I don't eat, I'm not fed. That's not going to work. I can't go and serve other people and I didn't get mine first, right? That's a requirement.
And also too, it's really about assessing your personality. So like you enjoy, eating a variety of things, different things. My personality is I can eat the same thing every day and be comfortable eating the
My home
same
does
exact
that.
thing every day. So been laughed at for it, been called weird, crazy, been shamed for having that type of personality, but that's just me. If that is you, honor that. Don't try to force variety if that's not something you care about. So you incorporate what you are into this thing called wellness, and you own it. You just own it. Don't try to force anything that's not really in alignment with your mentality, with your character, with how you see the world, how you interpret things, what is important to you. There's certain things that are important to me and certain things that aren't. I don't force things to be important to me that
Mm-hmm.
aren't. That's really a part of wellness too. That's a part of what you put on your plate as well. So it's just all of these things to keep in mind, because I find that we suffer when we try to fit into this one little box. Everyone's trying to fit into this one little box, and we got so many moving parts going on. We got so many different parts of ourselves that are different than other people, and we just got to embrace that so that we're not fighting, because wellness is about ending the fight. Y'all are eating foods that are fighting against you.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing things that are destructive, which is also a fight against you. And it's about no longer fighting with what you eat, no longer fighting with what you think, no longer fighting with what you believe. All of that you're letting go. It's like, listen, this is what it is. Yes, I like this and I'm a weirdo for it. If I'm a weirdo for it, so what? No, I don't believe in that. And you're not going to shame me into believing that. No, I don't agree with this, and I'm not going to hold a pick and sign up for this thing and become a martyr or whatever it is for your cause. If that's your cause, then you could die on that hill. I'm not doing that. This is a part of wellness. Like chipping away at all of that stuff is what's going to improve your health, because you're stressed out trying to believe things that you don't believe. You're stressed out trying to sacrifice for causes that ain't really in alignment with you. You're stressed out being concerned about things that you really are not concerned about. Not really, but you're keeping up with the Joneses, let's say. And because you're keeping up with the Joneses with everything you do, including what's on your plate, you're suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So it's we got to end the suffering. And the key for all of you listening, as far as wellness is concerned, is relaxation. Do not fight against anything anymore. Like no part of your life. This work, hard work. That's indoctrination. We're working hard for people who have it easy because we're working hard. There's people putting their feet up because we're the workhorses behind their fortunes. And we're told that it's okay to be the workhorses or work mules for other people because our reward is going to be in heaven. We don't deserve it now, but we'll get it later. And that's the game. That's the game that's being played. The only thing that matters is right now. Heaven
That's a
may come
fact.
or it may not come. You don't know if heaven is real or not. You don't know. You haven't been there. But you know you're alive right now. and you focus on that. What is real? Is what someone thinks about you real? How do you know? How do you know what they're saying to you or about you is how they really feel? Can you verify that? You can't verify anything but that you're alive. So if you're going to worship anything and honor anything and sacrifice for anything, let it be for yourself, because you are the only one that knows that you're alive 100%. Everything else is a doubt. Everything else is a question mark. You don't know for sure nothing else other than you are alive. So you let your world, your life, be the foundation for everything else, not the other way around. You don't put yourself and your being last when that's the only thing you know for sure that's real. The only thing you know for sure that's real is that you're alive. That is it. You don't know if he loves you. You don't know if your mother loves you. You don't know if they're going to fire you at work. You don't know how much nutrients this vegetable has. You don't know none of this stuff. It's all belief. So in order to turn things around and become healthy, you have to be your own catalyst. You have to light your own fire, because nothing's going to work without your belief anyway. The food is not going to work unless you believe that it does. That's the point. And that's really what wellness is about. That really is what wellness is about. So, on that note, I got to get ready to go body culinary. So anything else you want to share with me before
No,
I
I'm
make
just
my
so pleased. Maybe we'll come back another time and talk about some other things, but I'm just so pleased to have you on here. This is a really prolific mind. I invite you all to consider your circle of influence. Who are the 5 people that you're spending the most time around? If they're complaining about things that they're not getting into action about, correcting, if they're not into corrective action, how is that affecting you? Are you motivated to get into action around the things that you say that you value? I know that's one of my litmus tests. When I leave, she's one of my secret weapons, Salkis, on Sunday. I'm always more sharp, more motivated. So who is your circle of influence? I see Holistically Hilarious on here. Hey, how are you? So I know she's really about pushing her business and doing a lot with being a laughter instructor, right? Which is really not a traditional mode of work, but she's definitely somebody that is marching to the beat of her own drum. So anybody that is going for themselves like that, it's a lot of personal work. And I would even say she's another one. I can see several. I usually see patterns of people that do their own experimentation with vegan, vegetarian. I don't think there's any way around doing your own experimentation. So then what sense does it make to shame yourself or to shame others if you're just at a different space along your journey? That's a waste. It's a waste of time. And I think it even drives insecurity in deeper, right? When you could, in contrast, be grasping just 1 or 2 little gems that really jump out and resonate with you, of something you can try, whether it's a new piece of fruit or a principle. Okay, not feeling so bad about the things that you like to eat. But getting really clarity is worth its weight in gold. So thank you so much, Salkis. Please check out her artwork. Do yourself a service. Check out her artwork, her YouTube channel. Salkis is on, and she's Salkis Ray, or Ray.
Yeah.
And also,
SALKISRE is my name, and you can look me up on YouTube and see all what I got to say on there. I say a lot. So you want to check it out. Yeah. Or join me on TikTok. You can subscribe to me here, and all the links are in my link tree to my YouTube page and my website and all that kind of stuff too. So.
And I consider this a form for me. Last thing I'm going to say is I'm unapologetic about creating support for myself. Quite often, I was the only person in my household striving to eat healthy. I didn't have people at work or at my job, so I went and looked for books and people. So I'm all about investing in a coach. That is a principle that I live by. So I think it's really something for us. We have the opportunity to consider, pay for it, invest in people. You want something, if something is sourcing you, then how much sense does it make if you're not supporting it, and then you don't see those people? Or when you see them next time, they're not accessible or their prices, support what is sourcing you.
There you go.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Salkis.
much. Thank you for having me on. This was fun. We're gonna do it again, of course,
Yes.
soon. Very, very, very soon. I want to say that I appreciate you. Your energy, your love and support means a lot for me and my movement. You know, your contributions go above and beyond so many, and your character, your energy, your light is it's refreshing because there's not a lot of sisters that look like us that act like you. And I want to say in front of everybody that I appreciate you for being you. I really, really do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Salkis. It's so
Appreciate
beautiful.
you.
It means a lot to be seen and to
Yes.
be seen and heard, right? Thank you so much. Okay, more to come, y'all. Follow us on
Yes.
social media. This is a way of feeding and nurturing and supporting yourself. All right, create a great day.
All right, y'all. Peace and love.